I want to make a couple of points here. Me and a friend of mine have just had a discussion about desire. Now, I don't mind if somebody disagrees with me. In fact, in a way, I like it because I'm able to exercise my ability to articulate my perception and potentially be proven wrong. However, I have not been proven wrong in this discussion. The argument was that you can attain a consciousness that is devoid of desire. What does desire represent? It represents what your nature is motivated to actually make sacrifices for. So regardless of whether that revolves around a sense of duty or a sense of gratification or anything that you deem as worthy, whether it be whatever it is, it's all about like what you consider actually fun. Even if you're a fucking boring idiot, like, what is it? It's fucking desire, mate. So, look, right, the narrative of Lucifer is that it's, it's all like the representation of animalistic desire posed in a negative sense, that gets completely out of control and revolves around, like, if Lucifer was manifest on the planet, he'd be going in, like, as a total criminal. Well, it's not that simple because it's relative, right? We're all animals, and anybody who poses themselves to have a desire that is not a desire is fucking kidding themselves. And it's the same pretentious attitude as somebody who claims not to possess a dark side. Like, what's that about? All right, so somebody like who had a cross on, right? We had a bit of an argument and they started threatening me, right? Now, just like I often do in a lot of the situations, sometimes I lose my head and like fucking, not necessarily lose my head, but I get angry enough to actually like, get physical with somebody if that's what they fucking want. But a lot of the time, I don't necessarily back down. I stand my ground and say my point, and would only act in self-defense if they throw the first hit. But in the law, it is said that if somebody, you determine that somebody poses a threat, you can make the first attack. So, something to take on board. Because if you don't act at the right moment, just like Batman's dad didn't act, as Liam Neeson's character poses, you might just get fucking shot and then your son's left to pick up the pieces on his own. All of a sudden, your dad's the butler, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, relatively speaking. But I'm pretty sure, like, I was thinking Bruce Willis, what's he called? Bruce Wayne does not want that to happen because he values his mum and his dad as any child would. So, whatever it is that you're doing, whatever pretentious fucking conception you have, like, look, a good Zen teacher, and a friend of mine expressed this to me, said that a good Zen teacher will be provocative in the sense that he will get the students to fully explore and find out energetically why something is the case. So somebody will say, get to the thing, like, all right, so all suffering comes from desire and all this ego, like, we want to, like, be Mr. Humble and not be desiring so that we've transcended suffering. So the teacher will say, right, well, you go and get rid of desire. They come back and they say, we're having trouble with this. Yeah, well, you're desiring not to desire. So what you need to do is desire not to desire. So it doesn't work. I can't even remember what my mate said, but, like, it doesn't fucking work. You're always desiring. And this idea that you need to attain ego death, I hate to break it to you, but the word ego is a conception and represents fucking persona manifest through a vessel. Now, why would reality bother to do that? Because it's actually meaningful to have a contrast of character. And you assume that a deity of power would have an absence of ego. Dead wrong. How else is it going to have personality? Eh? What, is it just some like robot coming over like we are completely pure? No. It represents an aspect of reality. Like a lot of the mythologies depicted like gods to represent like Zeus, the god of lightning, Ganesh, some elephant. Like it always is a representation of something in a spectrum, right? Is there a definitive entity that represents karma? I would say most likely. However, the nature of that entity would be very, very confusing to somebody who does not understand energy in general. Because that being would have manifestation control of how karma would work, which needs to represent a polarity of negative and positive in relation to a heart's desire. Right? That should make sense. I feel like I'm waffling. It should make perfect sense if you're fucking listening. So, how would one achieve that? By integrating the shadow correctly. That is the only way that one entity could represent that. Now, it's often depicted that there is a separation, as in angel and devil, or God and devil. The reality is that this angel nonsense, I'm banging on about that because there are dimensions that are like that. However, they're deceptive, just like the Garden of Eden. Why? Why the fuck was the tree there? Why was the snake there? Why did the apple have knowledge? And why did they all of a sudden start getting self-aware and insecure about their naked, they have no kit on? Because you're supposed to overcome that. Like, what, this character here, God, we better not, it's something's a bit fishy here about this. You know what I'm saying? And these fucking deities that are like, we represent the light. Well, look at a yin-yang. One lives within the other. You read the Old Testament. Do you know what I mean? We better kill these Egyptian kids here. Why? Well, because, they're enslaving. Well, look, right, something has to be done, but is that the right way of going about it? Really? Okie dokie. I don't think so. So, what makes you think that we've not all been deceived?